Hello everyone. Welcome to Excellence Forum's ABCD of Accounting. And we are conducting the Income Tax Literacy series. Friends, in the last video, we discussed the importance and relevance of residential status as per the Income Tax Act. Now, we will begin to see the provisions for determination of the same. Let's start with the individual first. We will quickly revisit the types of residential status for an individual. An individual person can be a resident or a non-resident. And further, a resident can be resident and ordinary resident or resident but not ordinary resident. Friends, if we see these provisions, they are a bit complicated to understand. So if we take the two-step approach towards it, it becomes a bit easier to understand. The first step will be determining whether an individual is a resident or non-resident. And again, this can be done with two approaches, normal approach or deemed approach. And once we determine that a person is a resident, then the next step is whether he is an ordinary resident or not ordinary resident. This is something important to remember, friends. The second step is applicable only to a resident individual and it is not applicable if he is a non-resident of India. Now, as we saw, there are two approaches. The first is normal approach, which is simply based on the period of stay in India. But the second is deemed approach, which is based on his income and taxability in other countries. So, first with the normal approach, an individual is said to be a resident in India in any previous year if he satisfies any one of the following conditions. Now, there are two things to understand here. Any previous year means this status is applicable only to a particular previous year. It is not a perpetual status. It can change from one previous year to another year, right? So what are the conditions? If he has been in India during the previous year for a total period of 182 days or more, or here is a or, he has been in India for at least 60 days in the relevant previous year and for a period of 365 days or more in 4 years immediately preceding the relevant year. If any one of these conditions are satisfied, he is considered to be a resident of India. And if both these conditions are not satisfied, then an individual is a non-resident in India. Now, when we discuss the deemed approach, we have to remember that this is applicable only to an Indian citizen and not applicable to a foreign citizen. An Indian citizen shall be deemed to be a resident in India if his total income other than income from foreign sources exceeds 15 lakhs during that particular previous year only and he is not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory, generally where he is residing, and the reason could be either his domicile or his residence or any other similar reason. Then he is considered as a deemed resident of India. Now we have decided that the person is or determined that the person is resident, then we come to the second step where we determine whether he is an ordinary or not ordinary resident. Again, a resident is not ordinary resident if he satisfies any one of the four conditions given below. And we will again try to simplify it, try to discuss it based on the nature of the condition. So the first is non-resident status. If he is a non-resident for at least 9 out of 10 years immediately preceding the relevant year, or his stay in India is 729 days or less during the 7 years immediately preceding the relevant year, or the third is applicable to an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who is having total income exceeding rupees 15 lakhs for that year and his stay in India is between 120 to 181 days, then he is a non-resident, not ordinary resident. And the last is deemed resident. The deemed resident individual will always be treated as a resident but not ordinary resident. And friends, if none of these four conditions are satisfied by a resident individual, then he is considered to be a ordinary resident of India. Friends, we do understand that these provisions are a bit complicated to understand. So if you have any queries or questions, please try and post them in our comment box. Also request you to please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more such videos on income tax and finance topics. Thank you.